Yes, mate, so how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel. The first international break is upon us, so it's time to start thinking about those transfer targets for Game Week 4 and beyond. So in today's video, we're going to have a look at my top transfer targets for Game Week 4. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe down below for more FPL content. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Get strong.
First up, it's a 6 million Liverpool defender, Andy Robertson. 5.4% owned, really low ownership right now. Some of his key stats for the season, he's only played 2 games. This had been recorded before Liverpool's games. Got a total of 12 points, 2 clean sheets where all his points have come from. They've got an expected goals conceded of 0.42 goals per 90. He has an XG of 0.16 and an XA of 0.17. So he's got an expected goal involvement of about 0.3. So 1 in 3 games. Right now, he's expected to get a goal involvement. He hasn't got one right now, so maybe he will get one in Game Week 3. This equates to a points per 90 of 6.39. Not bad for a defender right now when a lot of defenders aren't getting a lot of points right now. But one of the big appealing things about Liverpool right now is their fixture run for the next 3 or 4 games is really, really nice. If you're on a Game Week 4 wildcard, I don't hate going for a Trent, Robertson, Salah triple up. I don't hate something like that at all. I think he's being massively overlooked as an option in defence. Game Week 4 at home to Forest, Bournemouth at home in Game Week 5, Wolves, Palace, Chelsea. Don't hate any of those fixtures at all. I think they're all really good fixtures for them. You can see his expected points just below there. The average from about 5.7 to about 4.5, depending on the fixture, whether it's home or away. Andy Robertson, great option for me, massively on my radar as my main transfer target for a premium defender. Let's move on to a budget defender. Next up is Lewis Dunk, 4.5 million defender for Brighton, 5.2% owned. And the reason why he's in here is for his decent fixture run once again. Ipswich in Game Week 4, Forest in Game Week 5, and Wolves in Game Week 9. He's got a relatively tough run in the middle with Chelsea, Spurs, and Newcastle away. But I think if you can kind of cover him for the price he is, you can do some rotation there. And for the price that he is, you can kind of get away with it, I think. If you double him up with another 4.5 million defender, I think you can have some really nice home rotation fixtures in there. And some of his stats on the left hand side is he's made 3 appearances. Brighton have had a pretty difficult run so far. They played Man United in the first game, played Arsenal in the most recent game in Game Week 3. So he's only got a total of 10 points, but they have kept 1 clean sheet, which is better than probably most of them did for last season. In terms of per 90 stats, they are expected to concede 1.35 goals per 90, and like I said, that I think that's just the quality of the opposition. They have been playing with the likes of Ipswich, Forest, and Wolves in the next 6. I think I can see that figure dropping quite significantly. You're not buying Lewis Dunk for his goals or his attacking output or his goal involvements, as you can see from his data. Expected goals in his first 3 games of 0.02, which is pretty abysmal, to be fair. He does pop up with the odd goal, to be fair to him, so whether you can kind of predict that, which you can't, remains to be seen. But for me, I think he's a really good cheap option, and you can take advantage of those fixtures. Same with Andy Robertson. If you're on wildcard, Lewis Dunk is probably pretty high on the list, just due to Brighton's pretty good fixture one. The first midfielder on the list is none other than Mo Salah. 12.6 million. It's gone up by 0.1, owned by 37.8% of the game, which is just insane. He's made 2 appearances so far with 2 goals and 1 assist with total points of 24. Some of Salah's key stats per 90 is he's getting 3.64 shots per 90 with 1.04 key passes. And this equates to an XG of 0.63 and expected assists of 0.21. As of right now, Salah's points per 90 is 12.49. He has come off a little bit early in the past couple of games, and that's the reason why it's a little bit higher. And same as Andy Robertson, they've just got an absolutely ridiculous fixture run for the next 4 or 5. I think probably from an attacking point of view, the better than a defensive point of view. He's getting anywhere from 7 to 8 expected points per game. He's just an absolute must-have if you're on wildcard. And for me, who is someone that doesn't own him, I'm trying to figure out the best way that I can get him, and that I can get him in for Game Week 4, whether that is to do wildcard, to use my 2 free transfers, to even take a couple of hits. Maybe I think he's going to be quite essential for this next fixture run. And if you don't have him, you need to think about how you're going to get him in, because I think he's going to go crazy over the next few games. On to the first forward, 9 million, Ollie Watkins, 29.1% owned for Aston Villa. Made 3 appearances so far, no goals, 1 assist, which is a bit of a kind of dodgy one in my opinion anyway. Total of 8 points, which isn't great. Everything screams to me that he's a bad pick, and he's getting subbed early all the time. But his fixtures are just so good that you just kind of have to keep him in the back of your mind. Some of his key stats per 90, 2.83 shots per 90 with 2.13 key passes, an XG per 90 of 0.84, which is huge, and he's got an expected assist of currently 0. That's because he doesn't really get involved with that type of thing. Usually, like, a lot of his things come on from flick-ons, getting penalties, things like that. They've just got a crazy fixture over the next 6. Everton at home, Wolves at home, Ipswich away, even Man United at home in game week 7, I think is still a decent attacking fixture, where Aston Villa previously, last season, have been a pretty good home side. Fulham away in 8 and Bournemouth at home in 9. Is really in my thoughts right now, and his ownership is just huge. I think if he drops in price to 8.9, 8.8, I think he's going to be in a lot of people's teams. I just want him to get a little bit more fitness. He might not make him a game week 4 team, but he's definitely going to be on the radar for game week 5, pushing onwards. I think he's going to be a great option, and just someone to kind of think about and keep in the back of your mind that when Watkins does go big, he goes big, and you need to be able to react quickly to it. He does this all the time. Like, he's a very hot and cold player. He did the exact same last season. I think he didn't score for the first 4, 5, 6 games, but then when he started scoring every single week, bang, 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 get on him, think about him, have him in the back of your mind, have a plan in mind to be able to get Watkins in. Next up is Joao Pedro, 5.6 million forward for Brighton, 21.8% owned. He's played 3 games, started all 3 games for Brighton this season with 2 goals, no assist, total points of 15. Some of his key stats per 90 of 1.72, shots per 90, key passes of 1.03, an XG of 0.3, an XA of 0.1. So his underlying and his expected data isn't particularly good. But what is good about Brighton right now is that they've had some pretty tough fixtures, and they've got a nice run over the next 6, and he's on penalties, which always helps as well, with Ipswich in game week 4, Forest in game week 5. I know the run is relatively difficult in the middle, and they have got a lot of play, so there might be some rotation miss in it, but being able to get Joao Pedro in for someone like an Isak to drop him down to upgrade anybody else in your team to go and get Salah, I think is going to be very, very appealing to a lot of people. I'm looking at something like Isak down to Joao Pedro, which would allow me to go for anybody really. I could go Saka and take him up to Salah. I think that will be a very, very popular transfer strategy for game week 4 if you didn't want to wildcard to get Salah in. Last but not least, I have included some honourable mentions of Mbeumo. He scored 2 goals today, and he has got Man City and Spurs in the next 2, but I think outside of that, I think he could be a really good option, probably from game week 5, game week 6 onwards. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. Just think about it, that when we do hit that point, you might want to start thinking about bringing Mbeumo in. Now that Tony's gone, I think he's 100% nailed to be on penalties. Probably one of their main forward, one of their best players. Only owned by 5.9% so far, and because he's a midfielder, gets more points for things like goals as well. Cole Palmer, everybody knows about him. Such a great player. 10.6 million right now, 41.5% owned. I think he'll be massively overlooked. I think a lot of people are going to try and get to Salah, and that might open up the avenues for some people to go and get Palmer and be able to capitalise on those returns. Eze's another one, 6.9 million for Palace, 24.6% owned right now, and he's just considering like he's just constantly being dropped in terms of ownership and price. I just think it's a great option. Like if you watch Palace and you see how unlucky he has been right now, I think it's only a matter of time before he starts getting returns, and it might be this week in game week 3 up against Chelsea, could be game week 4, could be game week 5. I think he's going to go absolutely crazy at one point and get an absolute mega haul. They're the 3 honourable mentions. You think I've missed anybody out? Leave a comment down below about who you're thinking about bringing in game week 4. Right, mates, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. So I went through my main transfer targets for game week 4, also including some honourable mentions. If you think I've missed anybody, leave a comment down below. Let's have a little chat. Have a good day. Have a good international break. Peace and love. Goodbye.